Well, Slutcha, do buckaroos. How the heck are you? Welcome to Saturday. I am off this Saturday, so I thought I'd come and do an earlier video than I typically do. So a friend gave me this beer, actually a few weeks ago. I brought it to my work, but I kept leaving it there. Um, so eventually somebody put my name. Anyways, I did remember to take it home. I've had this before, but I really enjoy it. It's been a while though. 8.9% Alpha High from Coop Ale Works out of OKC. Let me show you the can there. Oh, good golly, that's nice. Oh, that's crazy good. A big and bold, a lot of hoppage going on, but a little bit of sweetness. You feel a little bit of that honey in there. The body's light for 8.9%, but not as light as you might think. Ah, mercy, it's absolutely delicious. I got everything working right here. Let me check real quick. All right, there we go. I think we're in business. All right. Again, how the heck are you? So I thought I'd have that beer, but I'm gonna have some whiskey with you too. I was near the end of one, so I thought I'd finish it up. Had just a hair over 2 ounces left, so I thought I'd serve it up on the rocks or rock, if you will, just one small globe cube. Oh, mercy. Oh, gosh, that's nice. That 8.9 is a little deceiving, I gotta admit, because it's taking a little willpower not to chug it down fast. In fact, if I was outside in the heat, I would probably have it gone in about 30 seconds. It is just absolutely delectable. But I am going to set it down for a second here and try not to be tempted while I go grab my whiskey real fast. Bear with me. Using one of my dad's old Jack Daniels glasses. There you go. You can see there. I've got the last of my Jack Daniels Bond. It is 100 proof. Um, Jack Daniels back in the day was sold at 90 when my dad was drinking it for the most part. But this reminds me a lot of that particular whiskey. What they're selling for Jack Daniels now is just a shell of what it once was. Like the only people really buying old number seven now are those that bought into the legend. They're really not in it for the taste. They're just buying a name. They think it makes them look special. But the whiskey isn't what it once was. It's only an 80 proof whiskey now. It certainly isn't worth the price they're getting for it compared to other comparable 80 proof whiskeys on the market. But they're banking on a name, and people that are still buying that are buying the name. They're not buying a taste. They're not buying the whiskey. They're buying a name. Uh, Sláinte. Oh, mercy. It ain't bad though. That was very sweet, actually, very much sweeter than I remember. Big brown sugar, a lot of dark brown sugar. Feeling some molasses there for sure. I've been wanting to buy this one for a while, but I held off for quite a while because I felt like they were asking too much for what it was. So I did finally find it on sale, and the truth is, they're still asking too much for what it is. But again, they're banking on the name, and for me, it was nostalgia. Why did you want this whiskey, Tom? Nostalgia. Will I buy it again? Honestly, the truth is probably not, unless I find a hell of a bargain again. Because for me, there are whiskeys of equal or better quality for the same price point. But here's the however. The however is sometimes nostalgia is enough. Jason Cleveland says, cheers. I want to post your comment. Jason, how the heck are you? But it is rather easy to drink at 100 proof. It is, again, I hate to use this phrase. I cringe when I hear it. I cringe even more when I say it, but it is what it is, right? I mean, you know what you're buying, right? When you pick up a Jack Daniels product, you got a pretty good idea, no matter how far up the price point or how they try to market it. You got a pretty good idea what you're going to be tasting. Good, bad, or indifferent, it is distinctive. And I don't think it's a terrible whiskey. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think that the regular product, uh, again, they're still selling it like it's a 90 proof and it's an 80 proof whiskey. But again, nostalgia for me, it was that nostalgia. When it finally got to a price I felt I was comfortable with, I went ahead and picked it up. But you get that right amount of cold, that right amount of water. It gets to what I like to refer to as the sweet spot. You get all those sugars on the surface. I did drink probably a good portion of this neat, but I thought I'd just have that last. I usually save the last bit and drink a neat, in all honesty. But since I had this glass here, I'm just going to drink that last little bit on the rocks. So I've got a hot, humid day here in the Ozarks. I actually had a hair more left than I thought I did. I thought I probably had about 2 ounces, maybe an ounce and a half, 2 ounces. Had probably closer to two and a half, but I figured it just needed to go away. I got some stuff I just need to empty. And that was one of them. Oh. But again, it isn't bad. The flavors, the aromas, probably better neat than on the rocks. I will be honest, but yeah, I mean, it isn't bad. Again, I hate to use this phrase, but it is what it is. And unfortunately, a lot of whiskey geeks tend to be like lemmings, right? They flock to names. They want to buy those names, and I might be one of the very, very few whiskey guys that doesn't have a go-to, right? Everybody says, well, what's your go-to? I don't really have one because I try to avoid those big names like the plague. I try to focus on any small distillery I can come across. All of them in Missouri, but every time I travel, I buy as much as I can from those distilleries out of town, and I focus on that. There was a time here, not long ago, actually, but just before my birthday, when I didn't have any mainstream whiskey on my bar card. I had all small distillery stuff, but now I've got a few major labels. But I don't have that one major label go to. I will not take part in allocations. I will not buy on the secondary market because that is everything that's wrong with whiskey and bourbon specifically at this moment in time. Folks on the secondary market are looking to take advantage of you. They're trying to tell you you need certain things, mostly because they want to sell it. And you don't. There's a lot of great product out there, man. You just gotta, I mean, you just gotta look for it. And you gotta be willing to look at that name you've never heard of, right? Look at that small distillery label and say, okay, I'm gonna buy this one. I'm not gonna buy this crazy ass allocated one just because everybody says I have to have it. That's the problem with whiskey geeks is they tend to be lemmings. Somebody says you have to have it, then they have to have it. I don't drink that way and I don't buy that way. And I will admit that some of it some of it may be some of it may be ODD, that oppositional defiance, because I've always gone out of my way to make sure I didn't belong anywhere. I've never dressed like anybody else. I've never tried to fit into any group. I intentionally I don't want to belong to clubs or even churches because I don't want to fit in anywhere. I don't want to be part of a clan or a or a cult. I don't have that gene that makes me want to be part of everyone else. I just don't have that. But there are those folks out there that do, and they want to have they have whiskey. So, oh, but look, I have this. I'm more impressed with the small distillery stuff, whether it's the best stuff out there. Not always, but in many cases, it's better than it's getting credit for because big guys will do everything they can to just credit the small guys. Big beer is constantly trying to squash craft beer. Those big distilleries even have more muscle, and they do everything they can to make sure those little guys don't get any traction. And I do everything I can to buy those products just for that reason. Uh, and I've become persona non grata in a couple local bourbon groups because I've said such things that those folks on the secondary market, they're parasites. Uh, Oh, mercy. Gosh, that ain't bad though. I gotta tell you, it isn't bad. I am glad I bought it. Well, again, will I buy it again? The short answer is probably not. But if I do come across it at a price I feel that I can live with, I'll pick it up. And a lot of that depends, in all honesty, on the nostalgia right around that date. If I happen to see it around the time of my of an event that reminds me of my dad, I may go ahead and pick it up, which is why I bought this one. Sometimes that you can't escape that nostalgia, I guess. All right. Well, now that that's done, we'll focus on the rest of this beer. Oh, yeah, I kept meaning to take it. Oh, I get so tired at the end of the night, though. Uh, then I'd get everything together, and then I'd somehow forget it, and I left it there for probably a good couple of weeks. I said, "What the hell?" They had it one spot, then it got moved. I didn't realize it got moved, and then I finally found it. It had my name on it, a little sticky note with my name on it. Okay, and I still forgot it a couple of nights, and then remembered it last night because I was off today. And to myself, okay, don't forget it this time. So I took it out, put it where I hoped I wouldn't forget it, and this time I did remember to bring it home. So, but I am thankful to have good friends that treat me well. Got a lot of great stuff for my birthday. And I've got friends that just kind of bring stuff from time to time because, I'm a wonderful human being. It depends on your point of view, I guess. But sometimes I have to remember a very particular line. Not everybody that says they're your friend is your friend. So sometimes, Something will happen that I didn't expect. Somebody will just blatantly disrespect you out of the blue for what you feel is no reason. You're kind of wondering why that happened, and you start looking at the circumstances. It's like, okay, now I figured it out. Now I know why he was being a monumental prick. Ugh. But the bottom line is, even when somebody disrespects you or lets you down, you can't let it affect who you are. You still have to maintain your integrity. Integrity. So no matter how they decide to treat me, I'm still going to be who I am. Ugh. I try to be decent to everybody, but the truth is, you do have to be careful who you decide to let close to you, right? I mean, I can have friends of various political backgrounds and varying opinions. I don't have an issue with that. But if you are without a doubt a bigot, homophobic, transphobic, racist, no, I'm just not going to hang around with you. And some friends have that, or some people have that ability to compartmentalize. They can be friends with us even though they know they're that way. I just don't have that ability, so I'm not going to know. I'm not going to pretend that I like people that I know are bigots, that I know want to take rights away from others. I just won't do it. And then again, I do know sometimes that stance will get me treated a certain way, as I mentioned earlier. But all you can do is take care of you, regardless of what they do. My integrity is intact. Oh gosh, that really is a nice beer. I really enjoy this one, man. The rest of that in there. Alpha Hive Coop Ale Works 8.9%. I love these Imperial pint cans, man. I really, I really do. I love the big can, man. Anyways, I digress. Oh, excuse me. All right, that's as philosophical as I'm going to get today. That's it, man. That's all I got. It's going to be all irreverent from here on out. I promise. That's as serious as I get, man. I have moments. I have moments. Oh, mercy. Uh, I've got a great job. I'm probably the least stressful job I've ever had in my entire life. But it doesn't change the fact that, yeah, after about a year, I'm still looking forward to a vacation I got coming up shortly. I mean, I'm not as in dire need of it as I've been in the past, in all honesty. But sometimes you just gotta, de-stress, just get away, go somewhere else. We were planning on doing something large this year, but we did something large last year, and it was just a little bit too grandiose to accomplish the follow. We should have realized at the time there was no way we were going to be able to get to that point. But we both wanted it real bad, so we kept hoping. But not a big. You just decide to scale down a little bit. We'll plan that big one maybe next year or the year after when we can really do it right. But sometimes it doesn't necessarily matter where you go, right? You just got to be far enough away from home to be away from home. Just a different surrounding, maybe someplace you haven't been before, maybe just someplace you haven't been to in a very long time. In our case, we're going someplace that we haven't been to in over. We've been there once before, but it's been over a decade. And the place has changed a lot, I'm sure, but a friend of mine has opened a brewery out there, and I really want to visit that. So even though we hadn't originally planned on going as a secondary, yeah, it's kind of nice because I've been wanting to get out there, but we were working on something else, so I didn't think we would. But now they have that ability to go out there and see his brewery. I'm very, very excited about doing that, and I get to visit. There's a distillery out there too that I haven't been to, so they're a relatively new distillery when we were out there the first time, but I didn't have a chance to get there. Oh, mercy. Again, like I said, relatively, I mean, easy to drink at that 8, 9. You really can't taste it. It doesn't, it's not boozy or hot in any way, but there is some body, right? There is a little bit of viscosity, especially as I've let it warm a little bit. Oh, mercy. Do love me a double IPA. I do miss, in a lot of ways, though, I do miss those double IPAs of old that were more of a copper color or an amber, big malt, big hops. I mean, they were just bold and brash and in your face. I do miss those. One beer in particular that I really miss a lot was Grand Teton Pursuit of Hoppiness. I don't even think they called it a IPA. They just called it an Imperial Hoppy Red. Boy, that beer was insanely good. The Pursuit of Hoppiness, arguably one of the best beer names ever. RJ Rockers used to have a great hoppy black called Black Pearl, and that beer was just wow amazing. I'm going way back, going way back, man. Anyways, back to the old days before beer had to taste like fruit juice, before all the mamby pambies took over and beer couldn't taste like beer anymore. No, we need our beer to taste like fruit juice. I miss the old days when beer was just big, bold, brash in your face. Didn't taste like any kind of juice. Now it's got to be sweet and taste like it belongs on a brunch buffet. Anyways, I digress. I'm Tom the Whiskey Whisperer. I just got to wrap it up now. I'm Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey fans. Hey, Dean, how are you, man? Good to hear from you. Hope you and your wife are doing all right. Need to get out and see you one of these days, but now that I've turned 60, I don't like to be out past 7 anymore. I want to be home and comfortable and dark, man. I was telling my wife today I'd like to open up a little venue where all the shows were like from 2 to 6, so everybody's home by 7. Anyways, I'm Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and I'm also Tom the Beer Whisperer, beer evangelist, prolific beer drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and all around good guys. Watch it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it.